This is Beyond the Cot, a weekly podcast connecting the packs of F3 Knoxville and beyond through invigorating male community leadership, through fitness, fellowship, and faith.
Avengers!
Assemble.
38 school zone.
School zone. 34 strip.
40 kickflip. 56 high heels.
High heels, respect. 37 trunk.
The F3 Knoxville Beyond the Cot podcast starts right now.
All right, recording in progress. What are we doing? So we had this idea to do kind of a state of the region video. So there's 5 of us on here, and we just want to talk about things that we've been doing as a region and things that are coming up for us to do as a region. Who's the audience? The audience is all of our packs. We just kind of want to reflect back on all the things we've been doing. But I think specifically this will be of interest to the newer guys. And in the last year, there's been over 100 F&Gs. So we got a lot of new people that might just want to hear about what is F3 and all the things we're involved in. We say we do 35 workouts a week, but we say it's more than a workout. It's so much more than a workout, and that's what you're going to hear about a little bit tonight. I'll kick it off by just saying, let's go around the room. Let's go around the room and introduce ourselves really quickly so people know who they're hearing from. And why don't we start with you, Blindside?
All right, this is Davis Bodie, 35 Blindside. I am the F3 Knoxville Weasel Shaker, and really excited to pass on some of what we've done and what we're getting going. So thank you for having me here.
All right, OnStar.
Hey, this is Arthur Diaz, 35 OnStar. I'm the first FQ for F3 Knoxville. I kind of jumped in with both feet in F3 and in this position, and I'm very grateful to be here, able to serve the packs. Been trying to help you guys be more intentional about the king, the pack, how we treat that, and excited to be here and share a little what I hope we can do in the future.
We got like the laugh track going on. I don't know whose side that's on, but
oh, sorry, that's probably me. This is not a very quiet vacation.
It was like the timing of it's perfect, but anyway. Steam, how about you, buddy?
Hey, Dan Henson, 28 Steam. Happy to be here. Happy to share some really cool things that are going on around our region, and it spans all 3 Fs: fitness, fellowship, and faith. So it's been a great year, and I know we're pumped to get to share that with you all.
All right. And Wax Job?
All right, I'll go ahead and unmute. My name's Wax Job. I'm the treasurer and tech Q for F3 Knoxville. So just look forward to talking about what we got going on this year.
Awesome.
I'll mute the background noise again.
Thank you, man. All right, and I'm David Greer, 41, kickflip. I do want to just say I appreciate you guys so much. You guys are 4 of the members of the senior leadership team for F3 Knoxville. There's a bunch more. I think there's like 22 or 23 now members of the SLT, and that's all the AOQs. So every AO has an AOQ who's in charge of that region or that area. And then there's the first FQ who we heard from. We've also got a second FQ. He's a new guy for us now, Mermaid. We've got a third FQ named Ocho, and then the rest of you guys. So people may not know this, but we huddle typically once a month to do something like this, either in person or on Zoom or a hybrid of the two, and just talk about all these things that the region is doing. So, man, I appreciate you guys so much every month doing that. And this special little video that we're going to record tonight, I appreciate you, especially the 2 of you guys who are interrupting your vacation to participate, man. Thank you so much. So in that shared leadership team, most of you guys, I think Wax Job was the only one around back in November And in our meeting that we had in November, what we started doing is talking about what are we going to talk or what is our theme going to be in 2023? If we could pick a theme, and the theme that we chose was to get radically refocused on our mission statement, which is to plant, grow, and serve small workout groups for men for the invigoration of male community leadership. And back in November, we said, we want to break that down and talk about one piece of that every month. We're not ready to talk about planting back in November. So let's talk about growing, and let's talk about serving. Let's talk about leadership. I honestly think that we're now ready to start talking about planting, and we have been recently. But anyway, with that in mind, talking about the theme of the year, what we want to go through, talk about the first F, the fitness piece, the second F, the fellowship piece, the third F, the faith piece, and then maybe some other stuff that didn't really fit into the one of the. We'll just kind of go through real quickly and give you an idea of some of the things that we've done so far this calendar year. OnStar, if we can start with you, why don't you talk about MABA?
All right.
Monthly metric challenges.
All right. So one of the things that caught my attention on the Make America Burpee Again, besides making me hate burpees more than I already did, is that for the size of our region, we kind of had a low participation. We only had 17 packs that registered on the website. I don't know if more did it without registering. There's no way we could know, but we had kind of a low participation, but a kind of good completion rate. Half of those completed it all the way. And we had a very beautiful gesture in it, because Cardinal, who sadly passed, had started it, and the man from Rampart took it upon themselves to finish it for him. So I don't remember the exact stats of how many burpees he had by the end, but since it was all the men of Rampart posting for him, he had something like 40,000, 50,000 burpees posted for January.
That's awesome.
Which even though we had a low participation, we ended up in 6th place because of that, just because of the amount of burpees that we had. And that was beautiful to see. That was one of the many beautiful gestures that came out of that, and that was really moving. But I'd really like to see more of our packs participating in events like that and things that bring the nation together, because this is an opportunity to connect with more people, to connect with the nation, and another incentive to work on ourselves. On the metric workout, this has been a great initiative. I did not start it when I got into first half. It had already been started, but I think this is essential because only what gets measured really improves. So it will help us see now if we really have been improving, if we really have been stepping up our game. So one of the things I would like to do is, from now on, since now in July, we're going to start repeating the workouts. I would like to announce every month who in each AO improved the most.
Ooh, I like that, man.
Just to bring up a little bit, hey, everybody's doing awesome, but I want to highlight the people who are really, but it's stepping up their game and trying to do their best. We're all about the you versus you, and let's see who beat themselves the best, who improved the most. And I think that will be something of an incentive for people to really push themselves and try to keep growing.
That's great, Dave. So we're about to finish the 6th month of the year. Then starting next month, we'll repeat those same 6 again, and we'll do the same workout, see what our progress has been. Dude, I just honor you so much for designing these 6, and you've done some really wicked ones. I haven't done June yet, but man, I'm looking at it like, oh, it's going to be brutal.
Yeah, I've been cussed around a bit, but it comes with the territory.
Well done, man. What about the Slack challenges that you got?
Well, there's something I picked up from another online communities and other groups that I've participated in, and I've seen them as both a way as to unite everybody and to kind of have a focus on getting 1% better every day.
Yes.
Growth doesn't happen overnight, and it doesn't happen with intensity. It happens with consistency, and that's my effort to try and help the men keep it up. I've had a few men tell me that they really enjoy them. I'd love to get more feedback from the packs on. So if you've been enjoying them, or if you have not been enjoying them, if you have any ideas you'd like to send to me, hey, I think it would be cool if we did I don't know, X challenge this month. Let's do a miles challenge instead of steps challenge or something like that. If anyone has any ideas, I'm more than open to hearing you out and bringing it in. But I hope you've been enjoying it. I'm hoping it has been helpful. I know it has been helpful for me and for a few other men. So I hope it has been helpful for everybody.
Great. Thank you, brother. All right. Continuing on with first F fitness stuff. Blindside, why don't you talk to us about Hardship Hill?
Yeah. So first of all, we completed Hardship Hill on Monday, Memorial Day, and I really had to shout out an athlete from Biohack. I kind of jumped in this time last year to try to be in charge of that, and my mammon and other things kind of got in the way, and I asked those two to really step up, and I couldn't have asked two better fellows to do that. And so they took over the bulk of the planning with an incredible quick turnaround from Escape from Hall Ridge right into Hardship Hill. With the help from Tank, who is kind of the godfather of Hardship Hill, they really took it on and did a great job. Where the obstacles popped up and took shape, it seems like we have a really good set of obstacles, and more importantly, a really good place to store on year after year. I know that those guys would say that we really could use more guys in not only the planning phase, but for the setup and teardown. I was amazed at the number of guys who did stay afterwards and tear down after running that course 3 or 4 times, doing 3 or 4 laps, coming in and tearing down obstacles. Is pretty amazing. But it is something that we wanted to take out of Tank's hands, because he was pretty much the only one running that for several years. And I think that looking to the future, Hardship Hill is in great hands and moving forward. And it's a great guy. I talked to 3 or 4 guys just on the course when I was out there that were asking me about F3 and really getting into it. They had no idea what F3 was. So it's not only a good way to EH guys, but it's a great cause with Operation Enduring Warrior, and really something that can get us, that can grow even more and get not only F3 out there, but to continue to support a great organization like Operation Enduring Warrior.
Awesome. Raising awareness, raising funds for them. I haven't heard yet how much money we raised this year for them, but
I don't either. I've got the sponsorship. With the sponsorships, we raised over $5,000, but with the what the final numbers are of from the entry fees and other money, we don't have the final count, but it's going to be close to, if not over $10,000.
That's awesome.
For Operation Enduring Warrior.
That's awesome. Yeah, well done, man. What about the Ruck BFF?
Yeah, so I actually also participated in that Ruck BFF, the basic fitness test. Really is a good baseline to test yourself. Didn't know what I was getting into when I got out there. We did it at Shamrock a couple weeks ago, where it's a 1 mile run, 2-minute sandbag burpees, which are the double, a 200-meter suitcase carry, 2-minute hand release push-ups, and it's really just test yourself and see what you can do. And at the time, like myself, my numbers and what I was doing, I shocked myself with what I actually could do. And the weights are scaled based on your level. So what's in your ruck, what's in your sandbag, it's based on the level that you want to do. We had about 7 or 8 guys out there, and Kickflip, you were there with us. And it really was a great time to fellowship and embrace the suck during that. I think it took us about 45 minutes to do. We're planning on doing it again at other AOs, and as guys are getting kind of more into the rucking workouts, it's something that we want to do and move it around, not just at Shamrock, but we want to move it around to other AOs and do it more often. Maybe I think the original plan was like once a quarter, but maybe even more often than that.
Great. That sounds great. So Blindside, why don't you keep the ball and but we'll shift from fitness. We've done a lot of fitness stuff this year so far. let's talk about some of the fellowship things we've done. Thirsty Third Thursday, something new for us.
Yeah, so that was something that's popped up the last this first part of the year, where Asylum PM has always done a what they call a board meeting after their workouts, where they sometimes would hang out at the AO and sometimes go to a local watering hole establishment to have some fellowship. And so they did the first one, and then the Equalizer took over and did one in April, where it's just traveling happy hour, basically is what it is, to a neighborhood establishment near that AO. So when the Equalizer did it a couple weeks ago, we went to the Casual Bite in North Shore, and just, you know, anybody that was in the area or around could stop in, have an adult beverage, and just kind of hang out. I want to thank Ribs for kind of leading that one at the Equalizer. I was the one that volunteered for the Equalizer to take over for that one, but I wasn't able to be there. But he was a good sport and took it over, and it was really a good time, because you had guys that lived near the Equalizer AO, but maybe attended other AOs that attended. So it was really a good time, and we'll continue those every month.
That's great. Thank you, man. So another activity we did that was fun was Escape from Hall Ridge. Wax Job, you want to talk about that?
Oh yeah. So in case anybody's not familiar with the format, we just go out to the Hall Ridge Park, just up towards Oak Ridge, and Valley Mathlete and Slappy and all them just put on a well-planned and executed fun event that night. We I guess not everybody rucked. My team rucked, but we had a challenge to hit as many of the spots around the park, and gather up playing cards and make poker hands, and just have some good mumble chatter all along the way. It's always a pleasure to meet up with other groups on the path, and to hear the vuvuzelas going all over the park, and of course to cram in a few brats at the end of the night by the campfire. If you were there, you know what you got, and if you missed it, man, you should be there next year.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you, man. Yeah, props to
I will point out that is probably one of the best events that F3 Knoxville does. It is such an incredible first F event, and even more so a second F event.
Right,
is the best that we do.
Those guys are
It's a really
funny,
easy way to bring F and Gs too. It's a really easy on ramp.
Yes,
Get guys out there and say, hey, come join this thing, without coming to a workout at 5:30 in the morning. And a lot of guys find out about F3, like Blindside was talking about with Hardship Hill. So it's great. We're less than a year away till next
year. Yeah, we had 10 FNGs this year. But T-Claps 2, Slappy, Mathlete, Biohack, all the project guys and Shamrock guys this year got involved in the planning, coordination, all that kind of stuff. Well done. They started planning it almost the day after the last one's ended. And I've already heard those guys talking about next year and the theme and the ideas that they've got. It's already so, yeah, definitely don't want to miss it next year. All right. Speaking of the project guys, I'll just give them a shout out as another second F thing that they do is once a month, they do a family workout 2.0. And so it's really for the kids and or wives to come, and they do it pretty consistently. Usually the first Saturday of the month, early, they'll do a little workout and then go to Dunkin', get some donuts. And it's just a great time. I mean, I've been a bunch of times and really enjoy getting to see their families and work out together. And it's just a good time. So well done to those guys. Steam, you want to talk about some of the second F lunches?
Love to, absolutely. So With second F lunches, a lot of this type of chatter you'll hear on Slack and the Mumble Chatter channel that we have. Doubtfire has done a great job at getting these together. Mermaid has also done a great job. So T-claps to those guys. Really, the whole idea of it is to get guys to break bread around Knoxville that probably work in the same area. So there's a few different areas in Knoxville. I know UT downtown is one area. There's some in Oak Ridge, and really it's an opportunity to take some time out of your day to get lunch with other F3 guys and have that community built into your work day before a workout, after a workout, things like that. So you'll see more of that happen. Mermaid, like Kickflip said, has taken over the second F and is going to do a great job with getting those second F lunches continuing as well. So it's a great resource to stay plugged into community even throughout the day.
Awesome. And then open house in North Hills. You want to talk about that too?
Yes. This was awesome. It
was.
Big T claps to Fixer Upper for hosting this in his neighborhood, at his house, actually, in his yard. Right. So big props to his M for letting us work out in their yard. But really, it was an opportunity for guys that live within his vicinity, in his neighborhood, to come and see what F3 is all about, right where they live. So we had guys like Kickflip sign up to queue during its open house week, where there would be F3 guys there, and we'd run through a 30 to 45 minute what is F3 type of workout right in his front yard. It would have the same configuration, start with the circle of trust, end with the circle of trust as well. And had some good F&Gs come out too that are plugged in to AOs around our city now, which is great. And so big props to Fixer Upper for being able to host that and being willing to draw guys in to come see what F3 is all about. Close to him.
Good. Thank you, brother. Yeah. All right, shifting out of the fellowship stuff that we've done a bunch of those things this year, and now we'll talk about the faith components. Ocho's not on with us. He's our third FQ, but I'll speak to some of the things that he's brought up. And let me just pause and say Ocho is doing an awesome job in his role. I really appreciate that dude so much. But he's instituted, like OnStar has for the fitness component, a faith component that's a monthly challenge. And so some of these challenges he's given us, and I try to take them real seriously. One of them I remember was just pray every day. One of them was pray with your wife every day. One of them, the current one this month, is lead your family in some kind of devotion or discussion twice a week. And so I really take these challenges seriously. I've really enjoyed them. Well done. He's also created a channel on Slack for prayer. So if you guys need prayer about anything, I think it's F3 Knox prayer is the Slack handle. Jump on there, ask for prayer for those things. And if you are a praying man, would you join that channel? And just as we get these requests, if you would pray for them, we'd appreciate you. He's got a couple other things. He's continuing on with this idea of the 100 swords. 100 swords is 100 committing to memory 100 verses of scripture. So every month, or every week rather, one of those comes out. Sometimes it's one verse, sometimes it's 3 or 4 in a segment. But over time, if you complete this thing, you'll have 100 verses of scripture committed to memory. Last thing I'll mention is that I think it was in February, we did a retreat called the Wild at Heart Retreat. We're blessed in Knoxville to have 2 guys, Survivor and ICP. These 2 guys went to John Eldridge's compound or whatever in Colorado and did this weekend with him, and kind of got like deputized or whatever by John Eldridge and his organization to teach that same weekend. And so they came here. John Eldridge's organization sent them a package of all the resources that they needed to bring. I think there was 14 of us that went away for the weekend. T-claps to Biohack for donating the cabin. And we just spent time being quiet, being reflecting, digging into your heart deeply. And it was just a really, really good weekend away. So thank you to those guys for that. All right. Blindsided, we didn't talk about this, but can you talk about, we'll shift out of faith into leadership and other things that we did. Can you just talk about starfishing F3 Smokies and that convergence that we did? I'll put you on the spot. I know we didn't talk about it.
Yeah. No, it's fine. No. So January, we starfished, F3 Knoxville starfished into F3 Smokies. It was kind of something that both surprised me and didn't surprise me when the Smokies region decided to pop up, because we started with the Arsenal and bomb shelter AOs, and then went into the Speedway AO, and really that they jumped in ready to go to create another region. So we had a launch of F3 Smokies, which was born out of F3 Knoxville. You can't just say enough about Smuggler and some of those other guys, the Smokies guys that have helped start that region, and I believe just in the first 6 months or so, they have already started at least 3 or 4 other AOs,
right.
Which is just incredible. Every time I look in, it seems like they have another AO going. So it's just been incredible what those Smokies men, the F3 Smokies, have done. And right off the bat, when it was coming up that Smokies was starting, it's like, okay, they have a cooler name than us, region name than us, and a cooler logo than us. What's going on here? That shouldn't be the case. So it's really cool to see what those guys have done and have grown just in 6 months of being their own region. It's been an incredible thing, and it's really a cool thing to see where something that started, kind of was born out of Knoxville, to see that starfish growth of expansion through division is an incredible thing. And I honestly think that that's going to happen a couple more times in the next few years from Knoxville. So seeing those F3 Smokies guys really just jumping up and going forward, it's been incredible.
Yes, it has. Thank you, man. Appreciate you. Let's talk about some other leadership changes that have happened. We kind of started this with an overview of the SLT, which is the leadership team for Knoxville. In the last 6 months, we've had a lot of changes. We've actually started 2 new AOs, Asylum Daybreak, Quack and PM, and the AOQs for those are CRISPR and Lizzie, respectively. In addition, we've changed 4 other AOQs, and now we've got on the team Gmail from Brickyard, Fixer Upper from Quack, and Guardrail from Juco, Skeletor from Rampart. Those 4 guys are new on the team. We've swapped out now all 3 of the first FQ, OnStar, second FQ, Mermaid, third FQ, Ocho. All of those have swapped out in the last few months. And Weasel Shaker, Blindside, is a position that had also changed. Kind of the newest news on the senior leadership team is that we created another new position, and that is the Veterans Outreach Q. Soot is going to be our Veterans Outreach Q. And he's actually assembling a task force or a team to help him reach out to veterans in our community, which I think is amazing. And I'm really interested to see what happens with that. Okay, OnStar, I'm going to put you on the spot too. I know we didn't talk about this, but you are a communications expert. I think you can handle it. Why don't you talk about the weekly newsletter?
All right. So Kickflip has been killing it with the weekly newsletter with, I think you said we have about 400 people reading it, right? Every Sunday. And it's been a great source of both to keep up with what F3 Knoxville is doing, but also to keep up with the Q source and to learn more about the ideas behind F3, what the ideas of leadership are, how to develop, how F3 envisions fitness, how it envisions fellowship, how it envisions faith, why it is more than just a workout. So I think that these newsletters have been instrumental in that and have been essential in that. And you've given me the opportunity to write for them a couple of times, and I'm grateful for that. Ocho has been doing a great job writing a few things there too.
Yeah.
And you have a spot open to highlight someone every week. So I'd encourage the AOQs to do that, to highlight their packs, to highlight anyone that you see doing something great.
Yeah.
Profile on them, or just send it to Kickflip and ask for the T-claps. It's a great part of leadership is to be able to highlight those who are doing something good, who are going above and beyond. And I think the newsletter has been great on that. So let's use that resource to keep bringing our men up and bringing the whole region up.
Perfect. Thank you, brother. All right, Steam, you want to talk about Shield Lock?
Yes, I mean, I love to. Also, quick plug on the emails as well. That's probably one of the first notifications I get on Sunday mornings, like 6 a.m. when you send out the message. I'm like, man, I don't know if you send it at 6 a.m., but it's one of the first things I see on my phone. Man, this guy's up and rocking it on Sunday morning. So if you check your phone first thing Sunday morning, great way to start the day. Shameless plug, love it. But shield locks are awesome. So this is something really cool that we are trying to be more intentional about this year. The shield lock is the horizontal relationship between men, as the Q source talks about. And so whether you know it or not, you need that in your life. You need to be accountable and be in fellowship with men. And there's an iron sharpening relationship that is built because of that. And so at different AOs they're happening all around our region, really. Shield locks are populating, they're becoming more regular. And what this really is, it's a more intentional relationship. It's a more intentional discussion. Maybe it's a ruck, it's a pre-ruck walk. It doesn't have to be anything fitness related, but it's a more intentional relationship with a few guys in your life that you can be really honest with, that you can sharpen the iron at a deeper level with, maybe more than a 45-minute workout in the morning or hour workout on a Saturday if your AO does that. So there are some awesome resources that are out there. If you're like, hey, I could do that. I could lead a discussion about guys, about what's going on in their lives. Betty has done an awesome job at putting together some great resources for this. And we have that readily available. So if you're a guy that is willing and able to say, yeah, I could help lead a group of guys in a more intentional way at my AO, get in touch with one of us, message Betty on Slack. We would love to get you plugged in with that. Or if you're a guy like, hey, I need that, it probably exists at your AO. So ask your AOQ, or be on the lookout for that type of communication in the weekly newsletters and the Mumble Chatter channel, or in your AO channel as well. So the AOQs are going to be pushing out a lot more info about that. But it's an opportunity to go further up and further in a deeper way. Sure.
Awesome.
Really cool.
Awesome. Thank you. All right. I'm going to go out of order just a little bit and skip down to talk about a leadership survey. This is something we did, I think, maybe back in February. And again, going back to the theme that we came up with for the year, to be radically refocused on the mission statement, to plant, grow, and serve small workout groups for the invigoration of male community leadership. And really, that's the mission of F3, is not to get you fit, not to give you fellowship or even faith, but to invigorate you to lead in your community, in your family, in your workplace, in your churches. So we put out a survey back in maybe February, and basically asked a couple of questions. One is, what way or ways would you be interested in leading? Because the best way to develop as a leader is to lead and to practice. And there are so many opportunities in F3, dozens and dozens of opportunities to be a leader. What ways are you interested in being? And then basically, what developmental activities do you think you need? And what we're really interested in doing is developing kind of a pipeline, right? So to work you through, this is another thing that came out a couple of weeks ago, was this idea of these kind of levels of leadership. So you start with, at the very beginning, you start by doing your VQ, right? That's the simplest act of leadership in F3. And then it kind of builds on it, right? Where are you interested in sliding into these roles? And if you wanted to be an AOQ or an FQ or the non-ton one day, what developmental things do we need to get you into so that you're in the pipeline? And so it was a really cool survey. We had about 40 guys respond back to that. And there were so many there's so many insights that I got out of it. Several of the people in the SLT now are there as a result of that survey. Other people are in the pipeline. Other people have given us, we saw so many themes in there as far as developmental needs, that we've developed some of these activities that we've done or are working to do as a result of that survey. So that was really cool. Speaking of that, the next one is the leadership channel. So if you go onto Slack, there's a channel called Leadership. Just some of the history there, that channel used to be private. It used to be the leadership team, but we opened it up, and now we've got a separate channel for the leadership team. But leadership is now open to anybody. And there's about 60 people on there, but we really opened it up as a result of this survey, because the survey results we saw over and over and over and over again people were saying that one of my needs, my development needs to become a leader is just knowledge about how to lead. And so that channel is good. Sorry if you can hear that thunder.
Lots of thunder here now.
Yeah. The purpose of the channel is to just talk about leadership, right? And so share books, podcasts, quotes, and generate conversation about the topic of leadership. And I like the way that I heard Lazy Boy say, after all, that's what our mission is, right? Again, the mission of F3 is to invigorate you to lead. So the leadership channel is all about talking about leadership. All right, Wax Job, are you ready to talk about some Q signups?
Sorry, I had to unmute again.
No
So yeah, hopefully talking about Q signups is old news for all of you guys, because everybody has used it to sign up to Q. But if you haven't, it's a new app that is integrated into Slack to get our Q calendar hopefully filled up in a kind of one-stop shop fashion. So we've got all of the AOs are all fully participating in that, and so yeah, it's been a pretty successful launch. We haven't heard any complaints about it so far, other than a couple of people having a little bit of trouble getting connected. But as far as I know, we've got that all straightened out. So everybody's enjoying that one.
Yeah. Thank you, brother. Appreciate you leading the charge on that one. All right. And Blindside, you put together a page of resources and FAQs. Why don't you tell us about that and where it is?
Yeah, so kind of going, might need coming into F3 for the first time, or coming into a leadership role for the first time. There is a ton of FAQs, frequently asked questions, or resources, and for the most part, those are pinned to kind of our main channels. They're kind of in a shared drive. I'm going to double check to make sure that everything is still up to date and accurate. I haven't checked that in a while, so I want to double check that to make sure that it's still available. But guys that are coming in, or guys that have been here for a while, check those Slack channels where you have some of the main ones like F3 Knoxville or Mumble Chatter or so you've got links and resources pinned. React to how to click on those and check some of the different things that by the time this video comes out, that all those are going to be how to VQ, what do I need to do to VQ, what is Slack, how to use Slack, how to do the Q signups, all those things that are there, the Exicon, the lexicon, all those kind of weird, not normal things that we do, which kind of sometimes seems like it's a majority of what we do is not normal.
Right.
Are there and ready to kind of all your questions answered. So those will be definitely pinned to the main channel and stuff like that. So you can always access any of that.
Awesome. Great initiative, dude. And so you were choppy there for a second. But again, if you're the new guy to this and you're listening to this, go find that document in the main channel. It's pinned to the main channel, and it's got a list of everything, right? Thank you, brother. All right, Steam. You want to talk just a little bit more about our 2 AOs that we've launched this year?
I do. I would love to. You've heard it on Slack, F3 Nation. There is no contest. The best sunrise in America, otherwise known as Saturdays at the Asylum. So basically, a little history on why we did this. So we have Asylum AM. You know them for their Monday through Friday workouts at 5:30. We have Asylum PM workouts that are on Tuesday, Thursday nights from 5:45 to 6:30. But then the Saturday workouts, which have been really an original to F3 Knoxville for a very long time, were shared between the AM and PM groups with queues and getting guys to sign up and show up there. And so we had a guy, a CRISPR, who stepped up and was like, hey, I can lead this. This is something I'm willing and able to do. And so we're like, hey, let's go do this thing. And so we launched the Saturday workouts officially as Asylum Daybreak on February 25th. So it's its own AO workout at the Asylum, and they meet Saturday, 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. Probably have one of the best cafeteria cultures on Saturday mornings. So it's been great to see that grow. And CRISPR's really taken the reins and led with a lot of impacts, not only with getting guys to queue, but just building that community on one of our historically biggest workouts of the week as we continue to grow. So that's been great. So shout out to CRISPR for helping launch that earlier this year. And then we also had our second PM workout launch earlier this year too. So the Quackin' PM. So the Asylum PM has traditionally been the only evening workout for a long time. Shout out to those guys. But the Quackin' PM launched, it was on May 8th. And so really the PM workouts are not your traditional 5:30 to 6:15 morning workouts that a lot of you probably know F3 for. It's really a different option for guys to engage with F3 if they can't make those morning workouts for some reason. So the Quackin' PM is Mondays at 6:30 p.m. Lizzie is taking charge of that, has done an excellent job, as well as Fixer Upper, those guys out at the Quackin' to help launch those in that community. So we have two different PM workout options if those work for you in your schedule. Tuesdays, Thursdays, Asylum PM at 5:45, and then the Quackin' PM Mondays at 6:30 as well. And there are AO channels for that as well if you're in those communities. But we're really excited to get to offer this as we continue to grow. And like Kickflip said, plants different options. We're going to cater that to what guys need. And so it's been really cool to see that grow over the past few weeks and months.
Awesome. You're on a roll, brother. Keep going with and tell us about Agoj.
Agoj, yes. So big hat tip to Captain Crunch, Ted Ancelet, who brought F3 to Knoxville. He's who made all of this even possible in the first place by bringing this to a reality. He led a group of guys through something called Agoj earlier this year. It was a 4 to 5 week intensive course study on 5 different big topics that typically we as men all face as we go through different seasons of life. And so just a quick rundown of what that was. It's know the battle, know yourself, owning the day, mastering the essentials such as your fitness, your fellowship, and your faith, and then making and maintaining habits backed by routines, backed by algorithms and discipline. And so really it was a chance to engage in really honest dialogue with a group of 5 to 6 men, OnStar, Kickflip, where we're there as well, with really how we orient our days and how we're accelerating speed to growth in our own personal lives as a bubble in F3 as well. So the feedback has been great on that. So T-claps to Captain Crunch for leading that. There's going to be more of that happening this year that you'll see, and we're going to push out later this year and probably even next year as well. But it was really a time for us, I think, as men to kind of take a look internally and say, hey, what can I improve on personally, professionally, spiritually, relationally, and have really solid conversations with other guys that we're working out with, or maybe we're not, that we wouldn't work out with within a typical week. So really, really impactful month and a half there.
Awesome. Very good. Let me just mention a couple of quick things. And then, so another thing we did or was done, the project hosted a Q101 early February, if I remember right. Mathlete led that. And what a Q101 is if you've never queued before, or if you want to just to be better as a queue, go there. And it's basically a workout with all the tips turned on. So he just would pause and explain, why am I doing this? What are the important things to be thinking of when you're doing this? And just kind of teaches everybody to be a little bit more crisp in their delivery and lay out precisely how to lead an F3 workout. I think he did a fantastic job at that. And then VQ week was the week after that. It was the week of Valentine's Day this year. and it was just emphasis put on, let's get a lot of VQs this week. And I think there was 9, and that was awesome. Okay, the last thing I want to talk about as far as looking backwards in the year is the most heartbreaking, gut-wrenching thing that happened to us, but also was F3 Knoxville at its best. And I get chills thinking about how this community of men rallied. And that is, if you're new to F3 Knoxville, that is the situation we have with Cardinal. So it's in January. A VQ is the first time you lead a workout. Taylor Phelps, Cardinal, who we call Cardinal, he came out, he was leading his VQ at Rampart on a Wednesday. And he started doing the warm-up. He called for 5 burpees. He got a couple burpees in, and then he collapsed onto the pavement, and he would later die. He was never resuscitated. And that was devastating to us. He was our friend. He was a wonderful member of the community, a pastor of a church in Harriman, beautiful family, 2 young kids and a wife, and just really was gut-wrenching, and such a sad story. But some of the things that happened I was in awe at how well that AO came around that family, and his widow, Cardinal's widow, and his children, and they've rallied around them, and they've been there for them as friends, and have continued to, right, for the past weeks, really supporting that family well. But 3 days after, so this happened on a Wednesday, and on a Saturday, we held kind of an impromptu convergence. And I'll tell you, it started out as a conversation. We were looking, they were having normal Saturday workouts already. It was kind of a newer thing for them. And so talking with those guys down there, I go, man, if you guys don't want to hold your workout on Saturday, that's fine. Totally understandable. If you do want to have it and you want to make it a special thing and invite some more people, maybe this could be, not 8 people, but 15, 20 people. Well, it ended up being like 170, I think, men, showed up at Fort Southwest Point in Rampart, Fort Southwest Point in Kingston, where Rampart AO is, and did kind of an impromptu convergence. And it was beautiful. And there was too many pieces of it to go on and explain today, but the family, Cardinal's widow was there, and his son was there, and they got to witness all of these men doing the workout that Cardinal had planned for us to do on Wednesday, right? So somebody picked up his notes off the ground, and we knew exactly what he wanted us to do, and did that workout together while his family looked on. I'll tell you, the thing that just like gave me chills was when we go around, do the circle of trust, do the name of Rama. And we were doing the name of Rama all the way around, and it took like 10 minutes because there's so many men there. But Cardinal's son, who's 12 years old, Clay, was sitting on the sidelines watching all this go on. But during the name of Rama, he came over and got into the circle towards the end. So we were getting close to the end, and everybody giving the fist bump all the way around, and it gets to him, and they fist pump him. And of course, he doesn't have his F3 name, but he ad-libs. And he says Cardinal Jr., and he fist pumps Bobbitt. And man, it like, the park shook with his name repeated back to him. And that was amazing. And it was beautiful. My heart swelled with pride for the region in the days and weeks that followed that. You guys responded so well. And I'll mention this, not many people know that for the first time that I know of, F3 issued 3 certificates of commendation for the men who led extraordinarily well through that situation. And it was for Bobbitt, Skeletor, and Piston. So they got certificates of commendation from F3, which was amazing. And it was an amazing situation. Blindside, tell us a little bit more about the broader impact that was.
Yeah, Yeah, so when I heard that happen, I jumped right in as I think weasel shaker for about a week, and just wanting to try to the one of the things about weasel shakers is that you're supposed to be really good at spreadsheets, and you know what, you picked the right guy for that.
That's
so
you.
one of the things that kind of then that we're doing around F3 Nation was just finishing that VQ and doing those workouts in Cardinals tributes, and we saw so many red shirts that were out, and so many guys that were finishing that VQ that I just had to try to collect those numbers, and there's no way to know the actual numbers, but the last count that I had, and I put out a kind of a survey. If you're going to do a Cardinal workout, let me know, this kind of thing. And even here in June, almost 6 months later, they're still coming in. But at last count, we had over 4,200 packs completing Cardinals VQ, with over across 140 regions, and 310 AOs over 3 continents. One of the things that I thought of immediately was getting a T-shirt ordered, because if nothing, what we do at F3, we buy T-shirts. And the Rampart guys got together, and I talked to them about whether we wanted to do red shirts like all of the guys, which F3 Nation did on their own. There was no kind of direction of those guys wearing red shirts. They all just wore red shirts. And the Rampart guys really wanted, when I came to them about ordering shirts, and having a kind of a logo or a mock-up of the shirts, they didn't necessarily wanted the red shirts. They wanted like those black F3 shirts. That's kind of the go-to for the OG, if you will, F3 shirts, with the only color being on it being the red cardinal. And when I reached out to Mud Gear, and we had those shirts made, over 150 shirts were ordered, which, as far as they can tell, outside of those yearly kind of official F3 Nation yearly shirts, that's the most they've ever gotten for a pre-order. And it's just, as a guy that never met Cardinal myself, but knowing those guys, some of those guys at Rampart before and since, it's kind of the epitome of what F3 is this tragedy that happened, because as soon as I told my wife about it, she immediately understood, knowing that I have never met the man, how it would affect me. Not that I was, shook up in a way of a best friend or a guy that I worked out every day passing away, but knowing that she knew the kind of guy he was because he did F3 like I did. And there is no words to describe how this tragedy cemented in me what F3 is and why it's important in my life.
That's awesome. You mind if I add a personal note here?
Please do.
So some of you know this, some of you might not, who have not met me in person yet, but I've moved to the United States in April last year. And in January, when this all happened, I had been in F3 for about 4 months. And I have no family here in the US besides my wife's family. My wife was pregnant. Seeing what this community can do for a family really cemented my commitment with F3. Really made me want to do more for this community, because it made me see that I have a family of guys now who, if something happened to me, God forbid, my wife and my kid would no longer be at mercy of fate or anything. Seeing that was amazing. It was moving, and it really made me want to be a bigger part of this and serve this community, because again, it's more than a workout. And if nothing else, that really showed that F3 goes beyond blood ties, goes beyond just men getting together for a workout, but it's something that unites us and something that we need. And as Blindside said, if a guy is an F3, you know what kind of guy he is. That was awesome to see, and that was incredibly moving. And made me feel like I belong to something bigger.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you, brother. All right. So that was the regional impact, the national, international impact. Wax Job, why don't you talk about just a couple of the things we've been able to do to have impact on the family itself?
Yeah, so of course, the emotional impact of the convergence and all the outpouring at that time was huge. Only lasted a couple of days, but I think what's going to last longer, and as far as support for them, is the incredible generosity of the F3 Nation. So we started a GoFundMe for Cardinal's wife and family, and kind of with some hope that we might raise a few $1,000s to support them going forward. And really didn't have any publicity or news coverage or anything like that, just all grassroots spreading through the F3 community. And we were blown away by the generosity of the entire F3 Nation. As donations came from all over the place. And we were able to raise almost $110,000 for Cardinal's wife and family to help them as they go forward and kind of recover and see where God has them going to next. And then kind of shortly after that, we were able to also help to repaint her father's house, which the tragedy they experienced in such a short time is pretty amazing, because her father had just passed away that same month in a freak fire accident. So of course, as Cardinal was a minister, they were living in the parsonage, and so they were going to have to figure out somewhere to go. So they were able to move into her dad's house, and but of course that comes with all of the kind of memories and kind of emotional connection that good memories, but not necessarily something that you want to be having to see every day. So as a group, we were able to come together and put a fresh coat of paint on all of the rooms of her new home. We had a number of our F3 brothers come in over a couple of days, and then in addition to the GoFundMe, donated $250+ towards paint and supplies to repaint that house. So we were able to bless that family in a way that will last for many months and years in the future.
Awesome. Thank you, brother. All right. So that is a look back at the last about 6 months or so. And if you've been in F3, I hope that this is kind of fun to reflect back on all the different things we've done and some good memories there. If you're new to F3, I hope you feel a little bit more up to speed, because we do a lot of things. And I hope you feel now you are at least aware of what some of those things were. Now, let me also pause and say, there is no expectation that one man do all of these things. There's no possible way that one man could do all of these things. But I do hope that you would be engaged and that every man who does F3 would do more than just the workout, but would be engaged in one or two or three of these things so that he feels more like he's part of a community, right? And that he's accelerating not only his fitness in the workouts, but also his fellowship and his faith. He's accelerating all three of those pieces of what of himself as a man. Let me also pause there and say this. We had planned on doing a look back and a look forward. We've now finished the look back and it's an hour. We've been doing this for an hour. I'm terrible at estimating these things. I thought the whole thing was going to take 20 minutes, the look back and the look forward. And we've been talking an hour. Yeah. So
a lot of cool stuff. That's what it is, man.
We've done so many cool things.
I was going to say, it's a testament of how much we've done.
Yeah. So I know
I mean, I didn't want to say, but I knew it was going to take much longer than that.
Yeah, dude. And so we had planned on doing another whole part of this conversation. What I would propose right now is that we just pause and stop for the night, and maybe we pick up and do the second half at a later date. Because I know two of you guys are on vacation with your families. All of us are about ready for bed. It's almost 10 o'clock. I'm on cue tomorrow at Shamrock. Are you guys okay with that? We'll just saw it off here. We'll pick it up some other time.
Absolutely.
All right, dudes. So I'm actually, that was a lot of fun, but I'm super excited about the next part of the conversation, talking about everything that's coming up. So we will do that sometime soon. And anyway, I appreciate you guys so much. I appreciate it, especially the two guys on vacation and your families. Please tell them thank you for loaning you to us for an hour. I appreciate every man on the SLT, all the AOQs, and the second and third FQ who couldn't be with us tonight, and every other man who's serving in every capacity in F3. We're doing a lot of good. We're impacting a lot of men in Knoxville and beyond. Many of those men represent the head of a family, so they're representing their wife and a child. We are having a tremendous positive impact on hundreds of families in East Tennessee and beyond. So well done. The work that you guys are doing is very important, very meaningful. I appreciate you guys so much. I'm going to stop the recording there.